Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the hot takes are flying. They're all over Reddit, but we've got a topic here called llama ranting, referring to Mr. Llama ranting about backtracking in dungeons is the biggest hypocrisy. And I'm seeing a weird thing happen where like both sides of the opinion are getting upvoted. Like there's a very strong coalition on kind of both sides of topics like this and all sorts of stuff happening in the Diablo 4 discussion community. So that's what we're going to talk about in this one. Let's get into it. Alrighty, now I do want to get into more kind of gameplay theory crafting type content that I am working on behind the scenes for sure. But the damn game isn't out yet. All we can do, unfortunately, is talk about it as a community and react to each other and share opinions. So it is what it is, but I thought this was at least interesting enough to warrant a topic. And I also personally know Mr. Llama, and I like him. I've worked with him before. I've talked with him both on camera, off camera, and he's always been super cool to me. He is definitely a veteran in the Diablo community, and I think he's a really smart player and smart guy. So let's hear what this person has to say, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. So it starts out here. I am not a fan of repetitive dungeons as well. However, I am not spending at least 10 to 15 minutes on YouTube, a video complaining about it, losing your way thousands of times in random Diablo 2 floors just to backtrack through empty corridors to find the next floor eventually is apparently fine. It's so much fun because we all love effing walking simulators in Diablo 2, but it's absolutely wrong in Diablo 4. Don't get me wrong, I hate backtracking in both these games equally, and I am just now trying to act like Diablo, but I am just not trying to act like Diablo 2 is the best game ever made. It was 20 years ago, it's definitely not now. I sat through the entire review of the beta, and it was honestly just a waste of time. It's clear this man just loves Diablo 2 and will never let go of nostalgia. There are many more topics like build variety. Oh, look, a hammered in with Enigma. Wow, crazy build, bro. And endgame content. Anyone up for exploding Bale for the millionth time that we could compare both games between. But this is, at this point, just a big waste of time. I'm 33 years old. I loved Diablo 2 when I was a kid, but I'm not delusional. It's either time to move on at some point or just play your thing without spoiling the fun for others. Just my 2 cents. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. I think some of what they're saying is warranted, and I agree with it. I don't agree with attacking someone like Llama because I do think he genuinely loves the Diablo community, and he does genuinely want Diablo 4 to be a good game, I believe. So I think him criticizing the game, it doesn't come from a bad place. It's not like he's just blanket sweep hating the game for no reason and wants it to fail or anything. But I also think some of these concerns are good. And I actually, there was one time I brought Mr. Llama on my channel to collaborate, and I pushed back on some of his opinions for things on certain games. So I do understand some of the thoughts here and the perspectives of wondering like, okay, the Diablo 2 endgame is killing Bale 5 million times. How is that, diversity? And one class is the best for starting a season because you have the sorceress teleporting around until you can get Enigma, and then you can build a hammered in and all that. So what's the diversity in that? It's been the same meta for 20 years. I get that argument, and I think Mr. Llama even gets that argument because I've seen him say it in his videos before, like, oh, I know you're just gonna say that I do Mephisto and Bale for 20 years. I think he understands the like there's going to be a pushback to some of his opinions on this for some of those reasons. But I will also say, from his perspective, as someone who's been a content creator for years, it's you get it from both sides. You're gonna get called a shill sometimes. People are gonna leave comments calling you a mindless shill who just pushes games because if they get successful, you're gonna get more views. And then when you say something negative about a game, people leave comments saying that you're just a hater and you're trying to farm views off of hate content and stuff like that. So you do get it from both sides as a creator, which, by the way, I'm fine with. I think people should be allowed to express their opinions, and I think people are going to have different perspectives and different opinions. So it just kind of comes with the territory. It's nothing that I'm complaining about, and I always want people to express their opinions down below in my videos. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I enjoy that feedback, and I enjoy learning from the viewers as well. And it's also important to point out that this stuff happens in other communities as well. I remember being very entrenched and being a content creator in the StarCraft community. And I remember back in the day, like in 2010, when StarCraft 2 was coming out, there was the StarCraft 1 loyalists that just wanted to hate StarCraft 2 no matter what. It was like, oh, StarCraft 2 is trash. Look at this. This is stupid. And they just didn't want to move on from StarCraft 1 to StarCraft 2 because they have a lot of emotion, a lot of emotional investment tied into their game, StarCraft 1, and it almost feels like another game is going to be coming out that's going to compete with that. And honestly, I remember even kind of feeling that like that myself. I remember a very specific thought I was having at the time where I was like, you know what, I wish StarCraft 2 wasn't coming out. I like what's happening in StarCraft 1, and this is going to fracture the player base. This is going to ruin, you know, the little community I've got going on, and everything's going to change. Everybody's going to move on. I remember having some of those thoughts in my head. And then I also played a lot of Age of Empires 4 recently, and that was really divisive. You had like the Age of Empires 2 loyalists that just wanted to hate Age of Empires 4, and they would only say negative things. It didn't matter if something was good, bad, whatever. They were just always gonna shit on the game, and that's all they wanted to do. So this kind of thing is just normal because people have emotional investment in something that they're currently playing or they currently love or they've loved for years, and I've even kind of had those thoughts in my head before. And I also think, like they said themselves, it was 20 years ago right here. I think, okay, obviously if Diablo 2 came out today, it would mostly be viewed as a massive disappointment and a massive failure, and it wouldn't live up to today's standards. Now, it would in some ways. I think the Diablo 2 remaster or resurrected was viewed mostly positively, but that was mostly because it had the backing of the Diablo 2 lore and the Diablo 2 fan base and stuff like that. If it was just a separate IP, a completely separate game released in today's market, I don't think a game like Diablo 2 would be received like it's some holy grail of gaming. But at the time, in like 1999, when it came out, obviously it was a revolutionary, amazing game. And it's pretty impressive how it's held up throughout the years. I mean, the Diablo 2 content creators get tons of views. It's got a very robust community. It's got really fun ladder resets, and there's all sorts of people trading with each other, and there is a very healthy, robust player base in Diablo 2, which I think is great. I think it's amazing that the game is that good, that people can enjoy it for that long. I do think that it's kind of living off of a point in time of when it came out and the goodwill that it was able to garner, as opposed to just coming out from scratch today. And I'll also go through here and talk about maybe some of the interesting comments here. Complaining on Reddit about a dude who's complaining about a game you like on YouTube. Laughing my ass off. What world do we live in? Can't wait for Diablo 4. This is the gist of it. Okay, we all can't wait for Diablo 4. We just want to play the damn game, and right now we're all stuck in this limbo where us as content creators, all we can do is talk about the damn game. And I understand that gets frustrating for you, the viewer. It's like, when are we gonna get some real content? It's frustrating for us too, and you can see people's frustrations coming out in forums and comment sections. Everyone's just frustrated. They want the game to come out. They want to play the game, and we're all just sitting here kind of throwing opinions back and forth, and it ends up spiraling into like a negative sphere a lot, as you can see right here with the reply to that. But now you're complaining on Reddit about a dude who is complaining about a dude who's complaining on YouTube. How far does this go? Yeah, exactly. So for sure. Then we have this right here. The only difference is that Diablo 2 has spammable teleports, so backtracking isn't an issue. Imagine if Enigma didn't exist. I think everyone will just farm CS because that means Chaos Sanctuary. It's an area in Act 4 where you fight Diablo in Diablo 2. And then because it's simply the only efficient place for classes without teleports, I think the most points for Llama about Diablo 4 is irrelevant. He's probably more butthurt that he's now going to have to compete with other big streamers, so he'd rather just stick to Diablo 2, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously, you know, Llama loves Diablo 2, but I think if Diablo 4 is a great game, he's going to want to play it and probably play both. And I guess it would just depend on what he's enjoying the most and what his viewers want to see the most. He's got a really big following on stream and stuff. I don't think Llama's like in some dire straits where he's worried about his career or anything. I think that's a little bit harsh, but I do think they're making a pretty good point here. They're talking about how you've got the sorceress with teleport, and you've got the Enigma rune word that allows other classes to teleport around, so you can get, it's not as clunky as Diablo 4, but we're also like level 12 when we're having to backtrack in Diablo 4. We haven't gotten to a place where we've got the end game builds, and we haven't seen them release items for years and years and years that really flesh out the game. So and we also haven't seen them make adjustments to some of these systems. I guarantee you that Blizzard has seen some of the feedback, which, by the way, that's why it's good that we have these kind of discussions, because they get that feedback. But I bet we're going to see some abilities and some endgame builds and some adjustments to some of these dungeons that will hopefully alleviate some of these concerns. Yeah, see, and then this person says, coming from the Baldur's Gate 3 subreddit, I can assure you that the emotional connection some people have with these old games prevents them from thinking rationally. I don't think that's Mr. Llama necessarily, but in general, like in terms of player basis, I've been there. I was there with StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 because I loved StarCraft 1 so much. It was my first love in gaming, and I remember having that sentiment of just wanting to kind of hate StarCraft 2 no matter what, and I eventually kind of came around. But like they're saying, it does happen to a lot of people in a lot of different games because of nostalgia for certain games. Bro was complaining about fonts. Like, bro, at this point, you're just hating for hate's sake. To be fair, a lot of people complained about the UI and the look of the game in relation to how the fonts fit within the universe. So you can see on my screen right now the different fonts for the different things in the story and stuff. Again, I kind of agree with them. The font isn't a big concern of mine, but I do understand the clunky AI and how the font looks in the Diablo universe. I think they could definitely pick a better one. And then we got someone right here that's on Llama's side saying Llama is right. In D2R, you don't backtrack without monsters most of the time because the maps are squared or two ways. Like in Act 3, everything is split by a river. So if you backtrack, you can go on the other side of the river and keep killing monsters. Same thing for Arcane Sanctuary. So it's not the backtracking that sucks. It's backtracking without having anything to do, which is increased in Diablo 4 by having tunnel-like maps. Okay, yeah, I mean, then you got someone saying that this is BS. D2 players use teleport to skip everything when going from A to B. They don't kill anything along the way just for fun. Again, also true. I think there is a lot of nuance in stuff like this, but I do think that there's lots of ways they can make it better in Diablo 4 for sure. And then we've got this one in here. It must be funny being a streamer or YouTuber, posting your opinion and seeing a bunch of adults lose their shit because you don't like the same video game as them. It's even more hilarious because this YouTuber said, you can like the game, it's fine, this is just my feelings, but you Muppets still get mad that he doesn't like the game the same as you, and most of you are adults, some of you have kids. Yeah, I mean, but this comes with the territory. I mean, if you're gonna post your opinions in public, if you're gonna be a streamer or a YouTuber, like I said earlier, you just gotta understand some people are gonna agree with you and some people are gonna disagree with you, and that's the way life is. That's the way it's always gonna work. And ultimately, all you can do is be an authentic person and share your honest thoughts and be willing to evolve your opinions when you learn more information from others. But yeah, I don't need to go over the whole topic. I just thought this was a fun conversation here kind of happening on Reddit. And, you know, I would love to get Llama on the channel. I've actually reached out to him and asked him to come on the channel and talk about some things. And I was actually going to, you know, face-to-face push back and bring up some of these points, like, you know, about build diversity and backtracking and stuff like that in relation to Diablo 2, because I really wanted to hear what he would have to say in a conversation format, being pushed back on some of those common narratives that you would see between Diablo 2 and Diablo 4 and kind of get some of his thoughts. He's got a lot going on in his life right now. He wasn't able to kind of meet up and get a collab done, but I'm still open to that. If he does ever get free and is available to make that happen, I will keep you in the loop here on the channel for sure. So all in all, in closing, in order to not be a fence sitter and actually give you my opinion, I do agree with that it's some hypocrisy going on from players in other games. I do agree that it's not like, I do agree that Diablo 2 is held up to this like holy grail, can't criticize status in RPG gaming, and I think it's a little bit overstated, and I do think that there's a little bit of just reputation based on the time it was released, that it's just kind of viewed as perfect and godly, and it's given a little bit too much status. And I do think there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on when it comes to criticizing something like Diablo 4, but this happens a lot of times. I said there was a little bit of hypocrisy going on when people were crying about Diablo Immortal being pay to win, but no one cares about Lost Ark, and Lost Ark is insanely pay to win as well. So I think this stuff just kind of happens because everybody has a different perspective, and there's going to be people that disagree with my perspective too, and that's okay. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment sections as to why I'm right or wrong, and who knows, maybe I will learn to evolve an opinion to be smarter in the next video. So yeah, anyway, I appreciate all of you. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Diablo content. I will see you soon in the next video, and hopefully we can get some more in-game type of stuff and get this damn game or get to the finish line for when the game is going to be out and we can finally play it. So yeah, anyway, Have a good rest of your day. Peace.